Greetings, it's Alex and James from Barefaced, and he has to run off for a gig soon, so we're going to be efficient. We have gained a dB meter on the wall, which is fashionable in the world of YouTube videos. Like most of those dB meters, it's A-weighted fast response, so it's not actually that realistic of what's going on with guitar, which is essentially a bass instrument, or bass, which is really a bass instrument. But we've got this meter here, which I've got set to the same A-weighted fast response, and we have here a Peacekeeper. It is in that one, isn't it?
Yes.
So this is Celestion's new speaker, which is essentially a power brake. What do you call it? Power brake, dummy load type thing in a speaker. So if you want to turn your amp up loud and get power compression, assuming the amp's 30 watts or less, you can plug straight into a guitar cab with a Peacekeeper and get your live tone at a more sensible level at home. It's a lot quieter. I mean, it's 86, 87 dB sensitivity. Sounds even quieter. I mean, just in the referencing, it might be a couple of 3 dB lower still.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain, there's definitely 2 voice coils in it. It mentions this on their website, and that was my assumption. That's what was going on. So I think there's one voice coil making sound, which is underwound, so it's less efficient at producing output, and then the other voice coil dumping heat, I think, and getting the load the amp sees about right. So we're gonna, and this one's got a Greenback, so it's a G12M, so it's the small magnet. So that is one of the quietest of Celestion's 12s anyway. To us here in the room, and probably to you if you're listening on headphones or through your computer or whatever, without normalization, the Greenback will sound much fatter and the Peacekeeper will sound much thinner. And that's simply because of the Fletcher-Munson, look it up, thing with your ears. But I imagine once normalised to the same level, they'll be in a very similar place, and we'll crank it up as well. I've got my dB meter, I've got dB meter there, I've got James, and he's going to play some guitar, and we'll start on the quiet one or loud one?
I think we start on the loud one.
Right, we'll start on the loud one.
Weird playing.
You switch to it, you just hear so much of the guitar acoustically.
Yeah.
We're using an Ignator tweaker, which is a 15 watt head? 15 watt head. We've got gain set halfway, master at about 2 o'clock, so I don't know, we haven't got a voltmeter on it. We're probably using a watt at best, fraction of watt. I mean, what were we seeing on the meters there? It was getting into the 90s, wasn't it? So we're definitely not getting quite to 1 watt. Because that's a 97, 96? 97 dB sensitivity speaker, the G12M, so 1 watt will get us 97 dB at 1 meter. And in a room like this, you could be a bit further away, and because you've got the sound coming around in all directions, we've got our AVD doing its magic thing out the back, getting the sound round. We'll be about there. Can we turn it up?
Yeah.
We'll have to adjust a lot of levels.
Should we dirty it up a bit?
We've turned it up. Shouting at the camera now. We've turned it up. James has got control of the volume knobs because it just fed back ridiculously. We're into the Greenback. The Ignator is basically maxed out. Okay.
Should we play?
Play that guitar. take an earplug out now. Play it again.
Yeah.
So I was having a thought about this morning. So this Celestion's brought out this Peacekeeper. It's really quite fun in the fact you've just basically got a home amp cranking rig, because it does get loud, and this is only a 15 watt head, and I don't know how chunky a 15 watts that is. The guys at Celestion were talking about using a 45 into it, the JTM 45, which is that a 45 watt head? Probably isn't, is it?
I didn't believe so. I might be wrong about that.
Who knows?
Yeah, I feel like that's more.
Just investigate that. You will know, people on the internet, tell us. I'm just talking about being able to get power tube saturation, power valve overdrive, through that at home.
Yeah.
It is, turn it up, you don't need to wear earplugs. I do wonder if we should see about doing a modified version of the Upsetter 112 Neo to fit the Peacekeeper in.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So you could have the smallest possible home practice cab that you could crank
Yeah.
with that driver
And
in.
also, as a studio musician, if you're taking that to a studio, it could be a really good option. Utilise the AVD with the room mic.
I'll be interested to know what engineers think of working with one of those, with a Peacekeeper for miking.
Yeah, right. I suppose in a studio.
It does open up some opportunities with mics, because you can crank an amp into it and the mic's not being hit with as much level.
That's a really good
So there's a
point,
lot of eccentric older mics that you could use without worrying about them.
Yeah, for sure.
Close mic safely. Yeah.
We think this is fun.
I love it. Yeah.
It's very cool.
It feels great to play. It feels like you're still getting the response that you would from like a louder. Like going between them, the only real difference is obviously the volume. It doesn't feel like you're playing through a practice amp or something. It feels like the volume is really just the difference.
Well, I think that was the point that they were talking about, that it's got that same responsive feel.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I think we need to do some more investigating with it. We should ask us more things. Well, I want to figure it out more.
Active.
He's pointing at something.
My pedal board and active stuff.
Oh!
I'll do that next.
I've just been looking at this Peacekeeper. So this is the G12, because all Celestions have to be called G12, apart from the V30, which isn't a G12, and I don't know why. Peacekeeper, right? Which would work on my children. So it's 50 watt, not 30 watt. So it's 50 watt maximum, strictly, no dancing. Low sensitivity, 86 dB, which is crazy low for a guitar speaker. Just don't try and use this in a band. It just would not work. Unless you want full-on power tube overdrive in an acoustic folk duo in a cafe. And you can turn up with your Marshall JTM 45 and your Les Paul and crank it into this. That'd be quite fun.
Yeah, actually, it would be. That would be very.
You can be Clapton in Cream in a tiny acoustic duo in a cafe, and the reason it's strictly 50 watts power handling is because it's so low sensitivity. You will actually put 50 watts into it. What's with most guitar speakers, they're so horribly loud. So 86 dB sensitivity, that's 14 dB quieter than a V30 or a Greenback H. So to do the maths on that quickly, so 10 dB quieter would mean you needed 10 times as much power to get as loud. 13 dB quieter would mean you'd need 20 times the power to get as loud. So we're at over 20 times the power to get to the same loudness. Yeah, which therefore means you're chucking a load of heat in, which is this thing here, which I thought was some nice knurling. Fins. See the cooling fins? Cooling fins. Big, tall cooling fins running all the way through. So that is what it's doing. It's heat sinking out through them, like on a high power Neo speaker. And as it says, speaker magnet can get hot. Use at high volume levels over many hours could increase risk of damage to speaker or amp. Ooh, running in note, increased heat level may cause temporary chemical odour. We've had that, and we've had that occasionally from customers who've pushed their amp hard for the first time and gone, it's making smells, pushing it really hard.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, they do that sometimes when you push them hard, then the smell comes out, and it's all right if you release the magic smell. What you don't want to do is release the magic smoke, and then that's kind of end game. Cool. We shall put this into another speaker cab and be back. Peacekeeper in there, which is a 50 watt, 86 dB, so super low sensitivity speaker, which essentially means that it's made your amp a 25th as powerful, something like that. So it turns your 50 watt amp into a 2 watt amp. So you can crank it at home. And to confuse matters, we are using that next to, with an Activier module in it, so it's powered, next to a Reality, which is an FRFR cab, omnidirectional, full range, flat response cab. They are both getting signal from the Simplifier DLX, and the Simplifier DLX has cab modelling set up for the Reality, because that's FRFR, and no cab modelling on the Peacekeeper. That's in a Reformer 112, by the way. And you've got a, did you say it was an AC30?
Yes, well, it's the
model.
AC Brit setting, so yes, based on the Vox AC30. And yeah, for the cab sim that I've got on the Reality, it's very basic. I've got it on combo, I've got everything flat in terms of mic position, resonance and presence, just because I just think it's easy to just have it in the middle. There's also the tweeter's -9.
That's the rear.
The rear firing tweeter.
Rear firing tweeter. The coax one at the front.
Yeah.
Matched to the 12-inch driver, so that's full.
But yeah,
full power.
-9 from the rear firing tweeter to compensate for that brightness. And yeah, so we should have split the signal, so we're going to hear them together, but they're going to be panned, and then we're going to hear them isolated. You're probably going to hear some bleed from either or, but you should.
Well,
hear
I could
most
literally
of it.
turn them off.
Yeah, so we're going to
Turn
try
the
and
power.
turn one
They're
off.
both active cabs. They've both got our Activier module in.
Yeah, so we're going to hear them isolated. Yeah, and this also, I feel like when we were doing it with the tweaker, you know, there was a lot of like, we pushed the master all the way up, you know, we were pushing the gain just to find that point where we were hearing enough of the Peacekeeper in a passive Reformer versus with a Greenback. Whereas here, because we've got the volume from the preamp of the Activier, it feels like there's a lot more.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
We're much louder, aren't we?
I wouldn't say we're much. Well, yeah, we're much louder with the Peacekeeper.
Yeah, much louder with the Peacekeeper than we were.
Yeah.
And I guess that's because the Activier's 100 watts into 8 ohms.
Yeah.
Whilst the Ignator is 15 watts into 8 ohms.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
and
all
valve
the way.
watts might be louder, but they aren't.
Yeah. So it's all the way. So the volume's all the way up on the Activier, but on the actual Simplifier,
Well, you say the volume's all the way up, the gain's all the way up.
gain's all the way up. Sorry, but the volume, the output for the Simplifier is around 12 o'clock. So, and that's going to be for both. So I'm not changing the output volume for each. Sorry, hang on.
Yeah, sorry, it's just the level.
Which is being sent. It's the same level being sent to both cabs. That's what I mean. Yeah.
We need to do a future video where we put a voltmeter on it and measure the RMS voltage that we're putting into it, and from that we can calculate the wattage, the power.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then we'll maybe we can do something. We were looking at thermometers.
Yeah.
I was looking at these
the laser
digital, not the laser ones. You can get these ones that they connect to a screen.
Oh.
Like when you're chasing someone on police camera action or whatever. You know?
Okay, cool.
Like those infrared cameras, and it lights up with colours depending on how hot the thing is, and they're really accurate. So if you're building a piece of kit like an amp and you don't want any bits of it to overheat, you crank it up and you can look at it, and it shows you the hot bits and the cool bits. And I'm quite curious to see how hot the Peacekeeper gets when you're pushing it hard.
Nice. Yes, do that.
Yeah.
Am I in the way of the dB meter, by the way?
Yeah, we've got a dB meter there. It's fast response, A-weighted. It didn't cost a lot, but do you know what? It doesn't match too badly with this proper one here, considering that the mic on it is all the way over there.
Yeah.
So it gives us a fast response indication. A-weighted. If you wonder what A-weighted means, well, maybe we can pop it up here. Yeah, here. It says A-weighted versus C-weighted and Z-weighted. I tend to work off Z-weighted, but if you're looking into soundproofing, it's really easy to achieve soundproofing with A-weighted stuff. C-weighted, really hard. Z-weighted, almost impossible.
Right.
Because it's the lows. Right.
Nice. Cool. Well, I'm just going to play something. I'm going to have some. I know James was playing very dry, so it's a bit clean, a bit dirty, but there's no effect. So I'm going to try it with some effects.
very satisfying how, despite this being an FR speaker, because this is a front-firing 12 with a coax tweeter firing through it with its own crossover, a secondary rear-firing tweeter with its own crossover, and cab modelling on the Simplifier, how incredibly similar that appears to sound in the room to this speaker, which is a normal guitar speaker, but it's a normal guitar speaker with a power brake, or what's the other word for them? That's a brand name, isn't it? Power brake. Totally forgotten. Attenuator.
Attenuated, yeah.
Attenuator.
Yeah.
Essentially built into the speaker design by having secondary voice coil and essentially it's a low BL coil. That was what my suspicion was, and then Celestion confirmed that in some of their marketing blurb. And then I think we've got another coil for heat sinking. If we blow one up, I can take it apart and have a look at it and see what's happening in there. But it's a shame to destroy it. But they're two completely different paradigms. They're completely different philosophies of how to build a speaker, both for different purposes. This is 97 dB sensitivity, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, two completely different approaches to getting sound into the room, ending up sounding very similar in the room. I'm sticking my head behind them and in front. I'm crawling across low down and wandering around, and yeah. Should we play something and I'll just turn one off and then turn the other off? And
Yeah, I was going to try it with a bit of tremolo.
you guys will have heard this. It's the lows. In the mid-range and treble character, the mid-range is very similar. The treble character's pretty damn similar.
Yeah.
The low end, the reality has just got all the lows, and it would appear that with the current settings and how it's set up, the Peacekeeper has very little low end.
It's complete.
It's like an engineer's got involved and sorted out your guitar tone and gone, yeah, you don't need that bit down there, it just gets in the way. What I'd really like to do, we need to get hold of some more amps. I think we need to get 2 matching valve amps.
Yes.
And a pedal board, and switch between the amps from a pedal board. So we have one amp cranked into the Peacekeeper, and another amp adjusted into another Celestion guitar speaker. Turned down so they're equal loudness in the room, and we switch from, pedal board AV.
Yeah, we should do that.
But we need 2 matching valve amps to do that. We've only got one there.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we could get a matching one of those.
We're not going to find one of those. They're quite rare nowadays.
You'd be surprised. I've seen them pop up on Reverb.
Oh.
Maybe you could have a look at that.
You know what I'm also curious about, but this would possibly be an end game thing.
What's that?
Big amp, Peacekeeper, fan practice.
Mmm.
Film it. Have a fire extinguisher ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what's possible.
Yeah. When you feel, did you feel how hot it was when you were behind there? You'll see what it's like now. Surely you'll be able to.
Nah, it's not
Imagine
hot.
it's going to be fine
It's
now.
not hot. When we've been power testing, when I was power testing the Activier module to see, you know, how hot it got itself, the actual output of it, I had it running into one of our bass drivers, the 12XM, which is a 600 watt bass driver.
Yeah.
And that speaker, the magnet got so hot you couldn't touch it at all. It was just dangerous. The frame was so hot you couldn't pick the speaker up. It was, and that's the whole cast aluminium frame. And the Activier was lightly warm, so it's a very efficient Class D module that puts out most of its power, you know, actually usefully. I was just trying to think what the maths is on that. If it's 86 dB sensitivity, if you've got 112 dB sensitivity, you've got 100% efficiency. So 109 dB is 50% efficiency.
Yeah.
106 dB, I think this is right, is 25%. Yeah, this feels about right. So 103% is 12.5%.
Yeah.
103 dB is 12.5%. So 100 dB is 6%-ish.
Yep.
So 97 dB is 3% efficient. So that means you put 100 watts in, you get 3 decibels, 3 watts of sound, and you get 97 watts of heat out.
Yeah.
And then we need to go down another dozen things, so you'll half it and half it and half it. So essentially you're down at maybe 0.5%,
Yep.
0.25% efficiency. If you put your 50 watts, well, say put 100 watts in, which you can't do with that, you'll blow it up. But say put 50 watts in and you'll get 1/10 of a watt of sound.
Okay.
And then the speaker's got 49.9 watts of heat to deal with.
Yeah.
Which is quite a bit. I mean, we know how hot a 50 watt light bulb gets. You know, those, well, they don't,
Yeah.
do they exist anymore? We remember what a 50 watt light bulb used to be like. This is a very cool solution, because quite a lot of people have gear they have at home. Those power amp attenuators are not cheap, are they?
No, some of the ones that I've seen,
No.
they're almost as big as an amp, the amp
Yeah.
itself.
See, if it tied in all in one solution,
It's fantastic.
It's a
Yeah,
home breed.
great.
I'd be very interested to see what you can do also with if you've got a Peacekeeper that you dial in at home with your preferred amp, with your pedal board, get it sounding right, and then just take it to rehearsals where you plug in to a speaker that's actually loud, and you don't have to change anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The only thing that's going to change, if everything about the Peacekeeper does it right, is the feedback. So that's going to change things, because you know, if you've got a guitar, your guitar sustains more when you're playing loud
Yeah.
because of feedback, which it won't do with a Peacekeeper, because it's not going to be throwing the acoustic wattage at it to set it exciting.
Did you hear that? It's a bit like... raspy. A bit like...
Either
It's like it's almost got a limiter on it still. It's like the moment you get those frequencies that you should be able to harness and like allow to like, give it a punch in the face.
it is a lot quieter.
Yeah. But that's but I thought still the whole point you could still put a lot through it, but I guess that's more.
I mean, we
amp-
could just try turning everything up more.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I was getting a bit.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
So I think you're probably clipping the power stage module in the Activier.
Right.
You're probably
I see.
reaching the maximum output of that power stage because it does clip in quite a flattened way, but it's not going to squish
I see. Okay.
like a tube or valve power stage will. So I think we're reaching the
Right.
on your attack, you're hitting the limit of the Activier,
I see.
which is then just dumping a lot of heat.
That's what I see, just so I could just play around the levels a bit more. But yeah, that's works surprisingly well. At first I was like, no, that's not keeping up, and I realised the level was actually down. So not just a really, really quick one. That's just the reality. Yeah, so you can really hear. It's like that's strange though. I thought it had more of the high end. This is just such a bright cab. But working together, even I think left and right, because there's that strange production technique that says, you know, you imagine having like the same, basically almost like if you were to do that phase invert thing where you take the same mono and then you split it and phase invert it, or even if you were to just take the same signal and actually pan it completely left and right, have the nice sparkly clean nice tone pan to one side, and then a slightly gritty, almost kind of like low fidelity left, but the moment they're actually in part of the stereo image, they combine and make this, like, that's some of like the secrets of some very, very specific guitar tones. That's one of the production techniques for that, like mixing techniques.
You need to try that with we have a stereo cab. Is it that one? No, it's not that.
The gold one. Oh yeah, that one.
And that's got the side AVDs.
That's it. Yeah. Got the super spreader.
The super spreader.
That's just the act.
We haven't told anyone about it, really.
Next time we're back with these, two of the same amp.
2 amps, ideally. Voltmeter to find out what power we're actually putting into things.
Absolutely.
Thermometer if we've spent some money on one.
Yeah.
We've got an old infrared thermometer, but it's been dropped so many times. We keep repairing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
Keep the peace, people. Actually, don't. Don't. This is not If you're a bad person, keep the peace. If you're a good one, if you're with us, fight the power.
Yes. Thanks.